So you need, I tell everybody, I need media partners. I don't need someone to come sell me something and get my, I don't, see myself on TV and, say another thing. And, I need a media partner. So the first thing is find someone you can trust.
Hi, everybody. We're here today, and we are here with the infamous Lincoln Stahl from Capital Chevrolet. By the way, the #1 Chevy dealership in the world. So it is an honor and pleasure to be here with you.
Absolutely.
And I'm Debbie Drury Tyrone, CEO of Market Doctors. And I know a lot of you are out there asking, the business has changed a lot in the automotive. So because he is one of the #1 dealers, I want to ask him a couple questions, and it's going to leave you hanging on, wanting more. Lincoln, my first question is, how do you attract people today to the market, and how do you get those people here for employment?
Yeah, so that's obviously the #1 thing when it comes to being successful. It doesn't matter how much I know about the car business. It doesn't matter where my location is. It doesn't matter how much I spend on advertising. None of that matters if I don't have good people around me. So one of the things is, as the years have gone on, I've taken care of people. I've taken care of people. I've made sure that I'm, respectful to their time. I hire people, and when I hire them, my intentions are to make their life better, to make their families' lives better. And I sincerely, I put an incredible burden on my shoulders to make sure that those folks are being successful and moving up through their career. And I think, it's kind of one of those deals after a while, the word gets out. Hey, this guy will take care of you. This guy will promote you. This guy will get you where you want to go. There's a lot of folks around town that have GSM and GM jobs. And, I like to think that I had something to do with getting them there, because I was never the person ever, regardless of how much it would help me, that wanted to hold somebody back. And as we all know in life, there's a whole bunch of people that will hold you back for not just this business, and all businesses, for their own benefit. The other thing is, to have a equal and fair pay plan.
Absolutely.
I'm not just throwing money up in the air and say, let me make you a millionaire for doing nothing. However, I'm one of the ones that sincerely believes if you do a A+ job, which is, in the nicest way possible, is kind of what I demand when you come to work for me, that I'm going to pay you A+ pay. And if we all start making more money and you start making money, I'm going to give you a high five and I'm going to hug you and tell you congratulations, take your wife out to dinner. I'm not going to be the guy cutting pay plans. When things start getting really good for me, I'm not going to cut pay plans and start taking away from the guys that work so hard to get me there. So I think fairness and your reputation will precede you, good and bad.
Well, I remember, so any of y'all that haven't seen Lincoln Stahl on Facebook, please go watch his stories because they're amazing. And I can tell you, I've known him for a long, long time. He calls me mom for a reason. But I will tell you,
15 years.
15 years. And I remember one of the times at a Chevy store, I remember a kid coming in with dreadlocks and looking like crazy. And I'm thinking, why is he even talking to him?
Yeah.
Tell him the story about what you did for him with the clothing, because that really impressed me.
So I hired this young man. The young man actually, the kid actually, I met him at a gas station. I was filling up with gas. He came and asked me for a couple dollars. And, joking with him, I said, man, what do you need a couple dollars for? Because I was about to lecture him, on why he shouldn't be buying booze or whatever it was. Like Big Brother lecture, just met the kid. And he said, I need gas. So I said, I'll make you a deal. I said, I will fill your tank with gas. I'll put my credit card in, we'll fill your tank with gas if you come see me tomorrow for a job. And I thought I'd never see the kid again. I thought I'd fill his tank, but it was worth the try. So the next day, sure enough, he pops into the dealership and I see him filling out an application. And he was filling out an application. He had a white undershirt, a pair of cutoff sweatpants, earrings in each ear, a nose ring, Jordans. And I always say this, I got a lot of Jordans, but he had unlaced Jordans flopping around on his feet, as messy as you could possibly look. And typical, I'll call the receptionist and say, hey, when that young man gets done with his application, tell him to go home, get dressed for an interview, come back and see me. I'm standing there talking to Robert Wolf, who is Robert is God is in every part of Robert's life. And not only that, he's an extremely talented human being. So as I'm talking to him, I don't know what it was, if it was just being around him or what it was, but I said to Robert, I don't know what it is, because he knew my rule. He said, I don't know what it is, but something's telling me to go talk to that kid. So I did. I walked up to him, I shook his hand, I said, hey, thanks for making it in. So you got your paperwork all filled out. And I said, hey, listen, I deal with customers in this dealership. We deal with customers that work in the oil business, and we're in the energy corridor. So a couple tips. I need to understand that when you come in, you need to understand that when you come in, I think the best I'll ever see you look is the way I see you in an interview. The other thing is I need to find people, regardless of how good you can talk and how much I want to help you, that can actually have something in common with my clientele. And right now, you don't have anything in common with my clientele. So I need you to go home, meet me here tomorrow at 11 o'clock dressed for an interview. So the young man comes walking in and he's got linen pants and a linen shirt. And it would be like the kind of linen outfit that you would wear on a beach to get married. But he had his shirt tucked in and he had a black undershirt on and a black pair of boxers and a black pair of shoes. And you could see his undershirt and his boxers through the linen pants. And he had it all tucked in with a black belt. So I brought him in, and right then and there, I knew that there was no figure in this young man's life that taught him,
Exactly.
regardless of money, how he should look for an interview. Because you can try, you can dress up. You don't have to have a custom suit on. You can try and look presentable no matter what. So I bring him in my office. I talked to him, incredibly polite kid. Yes sir, no sir. Found out he was a high school athlete, and I hired him. I said, you start tomorrow. And I gave him 4 polo shirts out of my credenza, and I said, wear one of these tomorrow, because I didn't want him to get made fun of for wearing. I knew the guys would bust his chops. So he come in the next day with his white linen pants and his blue polo shirt on. He started, and I still remember the sales guy, Chris Bell. Shout out Chris Bell, great human being. I gave him my credit card. I said, take him down. Buy him a couple pairs of tan pants, a couple pair of black pants, a pair of brown shoes, a pair of black shoes, a black belt, a brown belt. I said, and on the way, give him the speech about loyalty, because you loyal to me, I'm going to be loyal to you. And he did. And I don't want to say his name because I don't know if he would want me to talk about, but the young man went from begging for gas money at a gas station. He's got 2 little kids and a wife, and he takes good care of them. They have a nice house and nice cars, and he does very well selling cars and making money. And it's just I was literally just telling Howie Bentley upstairs. That was my favorite one out of the dozens of people that I helped. He's still my favorite. Yep.
Well, I'll never forget that story.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I love the most. So what you're really saying is, in today's world, people judge a book by its cover, but there's a lot of books out there that need to be read.
Absolutely.
And focused on. And that's the thing I love the most about you, because you took a chance on many people, but people took a chance on you, and you've paid that forward. So I thank you for that.
And yes, ma'am. That's what it is. The folks that believed in me, I know how much I've changed. And I know the battles that I fought. And there was folks, and I always speak very highly of the folks in my life that I call mentors. I'm very quick to coin somebody a mentor. If they helped me just a little bit, they were my mentor. In some way, shape, or form, they were a mentor. And when you're going through those struggles and you're trying to get somewhere and you feel like the whole world is against you, sometimes all it takes is one person to go, hey, I believe in you.
Absolutely.
I believe in you. You can do this. And then watch what happens, and there's just, in my opinion, there's a whole bunch of talented, young men and women, and there's a whole bunch of talent out there that never was given a chance and nobody ever believed in them, so we never get to see what it was because no one ever believed in them. Somebody believed in me at one point, here I am, so.
We still believe in you.
Thank you.
I call that a balcony person. I tell everybody all the time, reach down into the crowd and pull them up to the balcony with you, and that's what I call you, my balcony person.
I appreciate that. That's awesome. I like that.
So one of the questions I have is, everybody says you're the genius of everything. And, I've always said that from the time I met you, and you're on the side of the road wanting to quit your job. But one of my questions is, how do you get effective marketing? Because one of the things I hear people say to me all the time is, I know half my marketing works. I just don't know what half.
So in our business, and it's probably similar in others, but I can speak to my business. Car guys we are instant gratification human beings. People are in general, but we really are. So the first thing you have to do is you have to take a sincere look at anybody trying to sell you advertising, and you need to sincerely figure out who's on the same team as you and who just wants a paycheck.
Absolutely.
Because they're both out there. So you need, I tell everybody, I need media partners. I don't need someone to come sell me something and get my, I don't, see myself on TV and, said another thing. And, I need a media partner. So the first thing is find someone you can trust. You have to find someone you can trust.
A relationship.
And when you find that person you can trust, then consistency comes into play. You can't do something for 1 month and then look at analytics and go, hey, I didn't sell no cars off this. Well, that's not how advertising works. Advertising, I always equate it to the Sunday paper when I was a kid. When we were kids, we took turns walking to get the Sunday paper from mom and dad. And when we came home, I didn't have money to buy anything. I was 12, but for some reason, I always looked at the sale papers. I guess dreaming. It was like my dream pages, right? So I'd always pull out the comics, the sports page and the ads. It was had the ads in there, and you'd sit and look through the ads. Well, mom and dad would look through the ads, and every week Sears or Montgomery Ward's or whoever it may be had an advertisement for appliances. Well, we weren't looking for refrigerators and washers and dryers, but we looked at it every single week. So a year and a half in of looking at those every single week, when the washer took a dump, the first thing you did is said, okay, let's call Montgomery Ward's because they always have good ads. Or, on a radio ad or digital media, just when something keeps, the way I feel that way, when something keeps popping up in my face now on social media, back then it was newspaper ads or radio or mail or whatever it may be. So I'm on social media and stuff keeps popping up. I think I'm a little, I'm smart enough to know kind of what's going on, but I look at these things and I go, hey, something's telling me to buy this thing. It keeps popping up. I must be meant to have this thing. So,
Branding.
It's branding.
Branding and in their face all the time.
So number one is find somebody you trust. Find someone that won't take advantage of you. I don't care about free tickets and free cookies and free this and free that. I care about who I'm going to spend money with, and they're going to be a good partner. They're not going to lie to me, and they're going to have my best interest or our best interest in mind when they're doing something. When you find that person, trust everything they say, because I, at the end of the day, don't know anything about advertising.
That's not true.
I'm just smart enough to listen to people that know a whole bunch more than I am. And that's, when you're talking to the person who's a specialist in it, trust them and listen to what they're saying, and don't just think that you know more than them.
Well, and I appreciate our
Market doctors,
partnership.
shout out, market doctors. Always steered me right. When something wasn't working, she'd tell me it wasn't working. When something was working, we double down on it. So you run with the good, you don't do the bad, and you trust the person that knows more than you. In this case, Debbie, Skylar, and her team to take your dollars and invest them wisely.
Absolutely.
In fact, there's times Debbie called me and say, hey, let me explain this to you. I go, Debbie, I don't care. Just
you said that many times.
Sell me cars. I trust you. Let's sell cars. Let's go.
Absolutely.
So that's what it comes down to.
Well, so one of my final questions is talk about accountability and expenses, because, people will call and go, I got to cut my budget. Well, what do you mean you got to cut your budget? We look at per car. We have all these things that we say, but realistically, talk to me about that and tell the people what your philosophy is. I mean, you are number one. You've done this for a long time. What does that mean?
Well, you can't. I've been in some fairly big dealerships, and I've been in some small dealerships. And whether it was small or big, the one thing I figured out a long time ago is it's impossible for more than a month or so to save yourself into a profit. You just can't. You can't do it. Now, the problem is when you have the other mentality, people are throwing money around like drunken sailors, and before you know it, we all work for somebody. Before you know it, somebody's going, hey, why are you spending this much money? So, I would tell you in a marketplace, I think the number one thing right now is market share. Like, you need to have market share. Market share is everything. You need to sell someone a car. You need to have your plate frame on that car. You need to get their trade. You need to be able to market to them because now you have their information. You need them coming in to do service with you so you can take great care of them and
retention.
They can come back and buy a car from you in the future. But if you don't sell someone a car, nothing happens from there. And you're not going to sell more cars, especially in a tough environment that we're in right now with high interest rates and low inventory. When COVID hit, there was a lot of my counterparts, I should say, they went into oh no, let's cut everything, let's save money mentality. And I was telling, at the time I ran 3 separate stores, and I was telling all my people, we're not dialing back. Like, we're gonna find out, I said daily, anybody can do this when it's easy. Let's find out who can do it when it's hard.
Absolutely.
And when it was hard and everybody was dialing back, trying to save themselves into a profit, I never laid a person off. We never laid a person off. I remember my body shop at one store was slow because no one was driving, and we kept them employed. We had them, painting buildings,
loyalty,
doing whatever we could, so I didn't lose them, because if I would have lost them, someone would have hired them. And when the market came back, finding a body tech was impossible. So I kept them there, and I didn't cut back on advertising. Because in my mind, when everybody was cutting back, I was going to take their market share. And the same thing's happening right now. The strike's over, thank the Lord.
Thank God.
But when the strike started and everybody was dialing back, I had a report, I do it all the time to see what my competitors are pricing their cars at. And everybody immediately removed their discounts, and everybody went back into, thank God it's back to COVID, let's sell cars for all the money. And I didn't touch my rebates, I didn't touch my discounts. I went out and I started buying more inventory, because again, while people were dialing back, I was going to take more of their market share. I was going to take more of their customers, and when things got better, I was going to have all of their inventory. So expense control is real. You have to control it. I would tell you before you start cutting advertising, start digging into non-productive expenses in your dealership. And again, you know, I love people and I don't want anybody to be jobless, but I think every business and every dealership has some non-productive human beings working for them that we're paying a lot of money to. And I'm not even telling you to get rid of those non-productive humans. I'm telling you to find something that is literally productive for them to do so they can contribute to the gross and the net profit of the store. And then, you know, if you're selling enough cars, making enough gross, netting enough money, expenses don't matter.
That's absolutely right.
It's when you quit selling cars, you quit fixing cars, you quit making gross profit, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we need to cut back on expenses. So if you don't want to lay people off, you don't want to get rid of them, sell more cars. Stay aggressive. Control the stupid money and keep spending the productive money to get yourself better.
Well, thank you very much, Lincoln.
Absolutely.
You've been my friend.
Absolutely.
You've been my family, and I appreciate everything. And I hope that all of you that are listening today understand that Lincoln didn't start at the top. I've known him when he barely could drive a car. And I want you to know that you are privileged enough today to have somebody here today who knows how to do it. And I hope you go back, watch his page on Lincoln Stahl Facebook, look at his TikToks, and every time I look at him, I learn something.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate you, baby.
I love you.
Thank you. Love you too.